यार बहुत भूख लगी, जल्दी से जल्दी क्या मिलेगा बोलो।
अरे आप बताओ, हम सब ला सकते हैं।
अच्छा तो फिर एक काम करो, एक स्वीट कॉर्न सूप, मसाला पापड़, रायता, पनीर बटर मसाला, दो मस्त से गरम गरम बटर रोटी ला दो, फिर जीरा राइस, दाल एंड गुलाब जामुन विद आइसक्रीम।
अरे मैडम, आप थाली ही क्यों नहीं लेती? एक ही थाली में सब आ जाएगा।
नॉट बैड। Hey folks, CA Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a super interesting video which is about Bank Nifty. And in this video, we are going to talk about what is Bank Nifty, who created it, what was the purpose of creation of Bank Nifty, and towards the end of the video, we are going to have a very interesting discussion. So stay tuned till the end. This video is brought to you by Upside AI, but more on this later. Let's move on with what is an index. A market index is a hypothetical portfolio of investment holdings that represent a segment of the financial markets. And I'm sure you have understood nothing. So let me give you a very simple example of what an index is. So let's say I were to tell you about a weather index, okay, in a simplified manner. If you ask me, Rachana, as compared to yesterday, whether the temperature in India increased or decreased. And for that, I start giving you an explanation that because of the scorching heat in Chennai, the temperature increased by 3%. Percent को बोल रही मैं 3 degrees. If I were to talk about Mumbai, because of the sudden rainfall, the humidity has increased terrifically. And if I were to tell you about Himachal Pradesh, the weather has become very pleasant and the temperature has dropped by almost 2 degrees. And Pune is cool as always.
Only India.
Okay. So if I were to tell you, instead of these 4 cities, if I were to tell you, let us say 12 cities or 8 cities, whatever, if I were to give you a single representative figure that because of all these cities, the temperature in India overall increased by 1 degree, then what is this representative figure? That representative figure is nothing but index. Which index? In our example, it was a weather index. Similarly, if I were to tell you about the performance of multiple banks and give you a representative figure, that could be what? Index of a bank. And exactly that is what we are discussing in today's video. The representative figure of banks or representative index of banks is known as Bank Nifty. Well, by now we have understood that index is nothing but representation of something. Like this thali in the pre-bumper was a representation of my hunger. This thali is nothing but representation of the performance of the overall banking sector. And this thali is nothing but Bank Nifty. Bank Nifty represents 12 most liquid, which 12? These 12. 12 most liquid and large capitalized stocks which trade on NSE. Now let's understand who created Bank Nifty and why. Well, Bank Nifty was created by National Stock Exchange on 15th of September 2003. And now let's understand the reason why it was created. Oh, you are keen on understanding what is there in this box? Okay. Exactly. That's the like button. Hana tyala. So once you have done that, let's move back to this concept, which is Bank Nifty. Why was it created? One of the most important reasons why it was created was to create a benchmark. Now, for those who don't know what is a benchmark, let me give you a simple example. If I were to tell you that 12 largest banks, okay, I told you in the previous segment as well, overall, they gave a performance of 14% returns in the previous year, just as an example, okay. Assume you have invested your funds in a mutual fund and the mutual fund manager says that it's a sectoral fund and that is why we are going to focus more on investing in banks. Now, if I ask you, did your mutual fund perform well or not? How will you understand whether it was good or not? You have to compare it with something. So, if you tell me, okay, this was the performance of my mutual fund and if you understand this is a shade lower than the Bank Nifty, then you will say that the mutual fund performance was not that good. But on the other hand, If this would have been your performance of mutual fund, then you would have said, it performed better as compared to the benchmark. So I hope you have understood what is the main purpose of Bank Nifty. One of the main purposes is benchmarking. What else could be the other use cases? Other use cases could be launching of index funds. It could be launching of ETFs. Oh, by the way, index fund, ETFs, all these are terms which need a big explanation. If you don't know about this, I do have a course on magic of mutual funds. You can surely go and check it out. Few more other use cases can be, like creating structured products and many more. But in the next segment, we are going to talk about something really important and very interesting as to how was this Bank Nifty created, or what is the calculation behind Bank Nifty. So stay tuned. Like the Bank Nifty, a systematic way to invest in banking stocks, Upside AI has created unique investment options apart from mutual funds or direct stock buying. Upside AI was earlier available only for ultra wealthy investors but is now available to retail individual investors also. Upside AI's technology brings systematic rule-based investing that uses companies' fundamentals and macros to build your unique portfolio. Upside AI has launched 3 products with different risk profiles. So you can invest in a basket of large caps, mid caps, or even buy a portfolio of equity, debt, and gold with Upside AI. The day Putin invaded Ukraine and the markets fell by almost 5%, their product Upside Shockproof was almost flat. So you may subscribe to their plans now for as low as 500 rupees and invest from your own demat account. If you want to know more, just check the link in the description box below. And also, there is a special coupon code. Well, in the previous segment, we just understood that Bank Nifty was created on 15th of September 2003. But then if you have a look at this chart, you'll see that you can see data from the year 2000. And I'm sure you might be like, asa kasa kai? Now, for that, we have to understand that any index will have a base year. Okay, in this case, in the Bank Nifty case, the base year was decided as 2000, and that was the reason why you could see data points from January 2000. And then what was the base price which was fixed for Bank Nifty? It was fixed at 1000 rupees, at 1000 basically. So from that 1000, we can see whatever has been the journey for Bank Nifty till date. But then the big question is, how is it calculated? For that it is easy. Just note down all the 12 banks, then take the LTP, then divide it by this much, then multiply it by, and then subtract, and then add, and I'm sure you might be like, oh my god. Instead of that, let's take a simple numerical and understand how the Bank Nifty is exactly calculated. I'm sure you might have heard this in the news that today Bank Nifty fell by 265 points, which was down almost 0.73%. And what are we going to discuss right now? We are going to understand how this 265 points is calculated, or how this 0.73% downfall is calculated. Now for that, I want your 100% attention for next maybe 4-5 minutes. Have a look at the chart on your screen. What can you see? You can see the Bank Nifty figures and all the 12 banks which are a part of Bank Nifty. Now, do these 12 banks remain constant throughout the lifetime? Answer is no. In fact, all these banks are reviewed after every 6 months. That is nothing but on a semi-annual basis. Now, in fact, the latest rebalancing which is going to happen in this very month, in the month of March, and experts believe that RBL might be taken out from Bank Nifty, and there are great chances that Bank of Baroda might enter in this index of Bank Nifty, right? Now, let's check this data. By the way, this is real data which I pulled out from the system. And you can see that on Friday, that is 25th of February, Bank Nifty closed at 36,430.75. Okay. And when I was pulling out final data, this is on Monday. The LTP of Bank Nifty, while I was pulling out this data, was 36,165.55. Now, what is the change between these two figures? The change is nothing but 265.20. But this is what exactly we are going to establish, how this 265.20 comes into place. And if you check out the percentage change between these two same figures is nothing but 0.73. We are also going to establish how this 0.73 came up with the help of all these 12 data points. Now, have a look at, I'm just going to tell you one or two additional figures. So let's say I'm talking about IDFC First Bank. See, the previous close, that is Friday, was 42.05. Monday, it was 42.35 as I was pulling out the data. The change was just 30 paise, and that was a change of 0.71%, right? Just one more example. Let us say I'm talking about, say, HDFC Bank. Okay, for HDFC Bank, what was the previous close? 1,456. LTP 1,434, and absolute change was 21.95 on a downside, and percentage change was minus 1.51. Now the next column, if you see, these are again a lot of percentages. And what is the title? Title is weightage in Bank Nifty. Now what do we mean by this? There are 12 banks, understood, but are all the 12 banks given equal weightage? No. There are certain banks which are given more preference, that is more weightage, and certain banks which are given less preference or less weightage. Which are the banks with comparatively highest weightage? Here you can see HDFC Bank 26.09%. ICICI Bank 22.53%. Even if you check out SBI is also 12.51%. So if I take an addition of these three banks, HDFC, ICICI and SBI, these three banks out of 12 banks put together are more than 50% weightage. So I hope you have understood all banks are having different weightage. How much different weightage is exactly given in this entire column. Now what are we going to calculate? Do we already have the change percentage figure? Yes. Now we are going to calculate the weighted change. How will we calculate weighted change? We'll multiply the percentage figure wala individual column, individual figure with what? Weightage in Bank Nifty wala individual figure. Just as an example, for IDFC Bank, what I'm going to do? 1.39% multiplied by 0.71%. But then it's like percentage into percentage. So double times, na? So that is why I've divided by 100 again. So it's coming to 0.01 percentage change. Okay, let me give you one more example of HDFC Bank again now. For HDFC Bank, what was the weightage in Bank Nifty? It was 26.09%. What was the percentage change? It was minus 1.51%. And that is why what is the weighted change? Weighted change is minus 0.39%. So I hope you have understood how did I calculate the weighted change in individual stocks, correct? Now if I take a total of all these, this total comes to what? Minus 0.71%. Okay, I know there is a small rounding difference. Here it's coming up to minus 0.71%, and where is the Bank Nifty headed? It's minus 0.73%. So 0.02%. That might be a rounding error. So forget it. But still the question remains, how about that 265 points downfall? Now for that, what we are going to do? We are going to multiply this weighted change individual amounts, individual percentages with what? With 36,430.75. What was that? That was the previous close of Bank Nifty, correct? In simple words, I'll give you just as an example. Let me take the example of ICICI Bank now. Now for ICICI Bank, what am I going to do? 0.11% multiplied by what? 36,430.75, and that's coming up to 38.58. Now if I move on, if you check HDFC Bank, for HDFC Bank, what is the calculation? Minus 0.39% multiplied by 36,430.75, which is coming to minus 143.52. You might have seen experts say that HDFC contributed to 143 points fall in Bank Nifty. This is how that 143 points fall is calculated. Okay, now at the end, what I've done, I've taken the summation of the entire last column, which summation is coming up to minus 256.62. Now again, understand, we have taken only 2 digits, okay, and there were loads of figures. That is why you can see again a small change here. The summation is coming to minus 256, whereas change in Bank Nifty is coming to minus 265, roughly around 9 points difference. But I hope you have understood how this fall of how much percentage and fall of how many points is calculated using this very table. Since the beginning of the video, we have been talking only and only about Bank Nifty. The big question is, are there any other sectoral indices or not? So for that, have a look at this chart. You can see that there are many sectoral indices like Nifty Auto, Nifty Bank, Nifty FMCG, Nifty IT, Nifty Media. Then the big question is that you might have heard about Nifty Bank, but you might have rarely heard about Nifty FMCG. Why is that? To be honest, Bank Nifty is one of the index which is much more popular amongst the traders community. Why? It has a large liquidity and a very high volatility. So आज कुछ तूफानी करते pattern people really love this index of Bank Nifty. So how can we invest in this? Are there multiple options? Yes. So for that, as I mentioned, either it could be Bank Nifty futures or Bank Nifty options. So if you again have a look at this image, you can see index futures symbol is Bank Nifty, and you have 3 expiry dates: current month, next month, and far month. And if you don't know about all these things, what is current, next, far, and whatever, of course we have a separate course on futures and options. You can surely go and check that out. You can also see on this specific image that, oh my god, so many options in index options. How come? Because there are multiple strike rates which you can see on the screen. Again, you have types, which is call, put. We have different strike price. Some will be ITM, some will be OTM, some will be ATM. And again, for that, all these things I have explained absolutely in detail in my futures and options course. Okay, other than futures and options, can I invest in a Bank Nifty? Yes, you can. You can do that via ETFs or through mutual funds, right? So if I were to give you a simple example of an ETF, here you can again see on the screen Nippon India ETF Bank Bs. So Bank Bs are nothing but ETFs. Okay, here you can see what is the symbol, what is the date of listing, basic industry type. It's of course a mutual fund scheme. So all these basic details you can surely check on the screen. I hope with this you have understood what could be the various ways to invest in Bank Nifty. I hope you have enjoyed this video about Bank Nifty, but if you want to learn more about ETFs and Bs, you can click here, and if you want to learn more about futures and options, you can click here. Till then, take care, Jai Hind, and bye-bye.